Growing up, Christmas was predictable. At least the parts of it that I saw, at least the parts of it that I held near and dear. On Christmas Eve, we went to worship in our small town church, and we sang the hymns and we participated and we held the candlelight. My favorite service was always the 11 p.m., or at least always once I was old enough to stay up that late and stay up and awake that late. And then on Christmas morning, well, actually on Christmas Eve, we would have this grand negotiation between my parents and us kids, and primarily my mother, who was a night owl and not an early bird. My mother, who worked very hard to make sure that everything was wonderful for us on Christmas morning, who did not want to be up before the sun. We'd have this negotiation about what time we would actually start opening presents. And in our house, the bedrooms were all down the hallway. The living room, dining room, and family room were in the first part of the house. And so we were told, you're not allowed to go past the end of the hallway until the hour that we had decided upon. Normally like 8 or 8:30. We kids would rally for 6 or 7 in the morning, but my mother always sort of pushed us back. And then once we got the go ahead, we would go into the living room and see our stockings and the gifts. And we would take out each item of the stocking, and there were rules about gift opening. It was one person at a time. You would announce who it was from, you would open, and everybody would pay attention. And the next gift, there was lots of things to predict, and we would pause mid-morning and make a brunch and have a big breakfast. And then later in the day, we would generally gather with family in someone's home. Christmas was routine. It was predictable. And I think a lot of us sort of thrive on that notion of routine. It's established. We have clear expectations about how it should go. But as an adult, I find that Christmas is anything but routine. There's always the unexpected. There's always the unforeseen. Things shift. The roads are terrible, or somebody couldn't come, or something burns in the oven, or something, the ingredient you were expecting that you had in the cupboard, because you always have it in the cupboard, it isn't there, or somebody has a bad attitude, or somebody has this or that, right? Things go sideways. And yet still in our minds, we have these very clear expectations. This is how Christmas goes. It's another year where Christmas is likely not going in the ways that you expect it should. You may not be traveling in the ways you would expect, or having family come in like you would expect. It might not be the meals you expect. And even at this late date, you might still be making changes simply because of that's what is, or maybe because of this new variant. Whatever the case, let me remind you of this. Christmas is never perfect. It is never all that we imagine it should be, never all that we conceive in our heads, and that's okay. The Christ child comes to us no matter what. Always and reliably and dependably, God loves us, chooses us, and chooses to come and live among us. Yes, even in the unexpected, even in our chaos. So dear friends, as you continue to prepare, maybe ramp up in your preparing, maybe shift gears in your preparing, I would invite you to take a breath. Remember, there is no perfect, and the expectations are what we create them to be. And that no matter what, Christ still comes as Emmanuel, God with us. Thanks be to God.